Hi there guys, Sam here. Join me once again in the Golf R just to talk a little bit about the performance gauge. Something I had a lot of comments on actually, and about, well, one reason why I actually have it in my Mark 7, and just a little bit about it and a little bit around the features as well around it. So I'll get straight into the video really. So enjoying the Golf R as always, but I wanted to get straight into it really and show you this performance gauge. So you might be quite familiar with it in the facelifted Mark 7. So from 2017 onwards, when they brought out the facelift, they brought out a bit more. The main actual update was probably to the infotainment, and a lot around the touchscreen, a lot around the functionality around that, which wasn't actually on the Mark 7. What people don't always know is that some of those features are actually available on the Mark 7 towards the end of its life cycle. It was actually made available. For example, I've got, for some random reason, I've got a frameless rear view mirror, which people have commented on as well. You know, it's not on the Mark 7, but it was on sort of the later end of the Mark 7s. And a lot of people with Golf Rs often say, oh, you know, how do I get the performance gauge on mine? How do I do this? You know, can it be retrofitted? All that kind of stuff. I'm not too sure around that. There probably is some way to kind of code it in, but that's not really kind of my speciality. All I can tell you is if you have a Golf R from November 2016 in the UK, you'll be given the later update of the media system. And part of that update gives you the performance gauge. So if you've got a Mark 7 from that period, I mean, I think during that time there must have only been about 5 or 6 months, maybe even less actually, of the Golf Rs being made before the 7.5 came out. Mine's actually an April 2017 car, so it was right on the cusp of when the facelift came out. In fact, one of the reasons why I got it was because of a little bit around the price, to be honest, because everyone wanted the 7.5. I personally loved the Golf R for what it was. 3-door manual would suit me quite well, and that's why I went for this one a few years ago. So yeah, let me talk to you a little bit about the performance gauge anyway. So as you can see, my car has the performance gauge just kind of shown there. I mean, you can get to it from kind of like just scrolling through car. You get loads of sort of different features as well. This is kind of what I have it when I'm sitting in eco going to work. I find it quite cool. It kind of matches the dials as well. It's actually calms you down on a crappy, stressful commute. But when I want to have some fun and have a fun drive, I tend to switch to performance gauge. Currently it's showing obviously the temperature. You know, I've just turned the car on, so it's not exactly warmed up at all. So as you go up to it, it has that sort of feedback to know that your hand's going near it. It's got a G meter there. Apparently it's 0.04 at the moment. Honestly, how much you look at that, it's more probably a passenger kind of gimmick. It's quite cool. But and it's good to have these kind of dials up. The kilowatts one is quite good. Unfortunately, it doesn't have it in brake horsepower, but it does have kilowatts. And what I do know is 221 kilowatts is 296 brake horsepower. So you can kind of see how much power you're actually using in the car. And if I blip the throttle, you can see it kind of go up and down. That's quite a cool little feature, particularly when I'm having a fun drive. And this was actually spotted by a lot of people who would just see my screen, because I leave this on this when I go for a drive, and they'd ask about it, and I've had it quite a few comments, so it made sense to kind of do a video on it. You can actually scroll between quite a few different ones. If you don't want oil temperature, you've got bar, so that's just the turbo pressure bar again. Nothing sort of coming in there because it's not really moving. You've got the G meter again. This is again, sorry, so this is the temperature gauge. You've got it up here anyway, just shown there, but you can see it's exactly the same. Currently needs a little bit. Normally 90 degrees tends to be the place where it's nice and warm. You can see it's going up quite nicely there. And again, you've got the kilowatts as well, and you can kind of switch around this. That's the oil temperature. So you've got options, abundance really, to kind of play around with. And for me, I think that's really, really cool. So what I'll do, I'll just go for a quick blast. It's something people have always asked about, and hopefully that's quite useful information for them. You know, you don't necessarily have to go for a 7.5 if you do like these kind of quirky little features. I think it actually kind of brings the car alive a little bit more in the sport mode. It can be a bit gimmicky, but it's quite cool. I mean, you know, passengers and stuff like that ask about it. I like it. It shows it's more of a sporty type car, and again, you've got that kind of two sides to it, which I love. So yeah, I'll go for a quick drive and I'll show you what I mean about the performance gauge. So on the move once again in the Golf R, you can see the performance gauge hopefully up there. And you can see at the moment when you're kind of cruising at 30, I mean 10 kilowatts. I mean, it's not even like, you know, you're not even talking like 15 brake horsepower, and it shows how little power the car needs. It's all about getting it up to speed really, which uses all that power, and when you really can get to, you know, get to experience kind of nearly 300 brake horsepower in this, that's a nice looking GTI performance back. He should have gone for an R, don't tell him. So yeah, I like these kind of roads, and it'll only be a quick blast just to show you this. Let's hope this Beamer's not going the same way. Why you'd get a 2 Series and a diesel, I'll never know, but he did. Right, let's have a bit of fun, because if you're not familiar with my channel, I do like a little bit of a fun drive. Turn traction control all the way off. You can do that in the R, you can't do that in other Golf variants, other than the Club Sport S. And yeah, it's pretty special, but if I put my foot down, quickly, you're doing 60 miles an hour. And you can probably see better than I can, because I can't look down, what it got up to on sort of the kilowatt sort of rating. It's a really cool little feature, and in the twisties as well. I mean, particularly if you do record, you know, people do have in-car footage anyway, just in general, you can kind of look back and say, oh yeah, look at that, you know, and get 2 Gs out of it. I don't know. And it is cool that it's available on the Mark 7. It's something that if you have a facelift version of the R, you have, and you should use it. You know, give it a go. It's a, you know, it's a sporty car. Use it for its sporting kind of credentials. For reference, if you're not too familiar with my channel, my car is a Mark 7 3-door manual, a dying breed, because 3 doors just are literally going out. You know, we're coming towards October 2019, and the manual just doesn't seem to be on people's radar, doesn't seem to be on manufacturers' radars. 3-door cars seem to be going as well. So I'm quite happy I've got this, particularly while it lasts, because to be honest with you, in a few years' time, nah, these type of cars are just not going to be around. It's going to be in a different type of form. If you didn't know about the Golf R as well, if you lift off at 3,000 RPM, I don't know if it's the same in the DSG, but it's in the manual, and you've got it in race mode, you'll get a few pops out of the exhaust as well, and the same if you change gear. So I've got a bit of G there, that's half a G. These roads I love. There's actually supposed to be thunderstorming today, so as you can see, there's no thunderstorm. Brakes, I love it. You know, this is a car that does me 1,000 miles a week in comfort, and it doesn't have adaptive dampers. It's just passive dampers. It's just so well sorted. Absolutely brilliant. Not too big either for the roads. Not too big at all. Quite nice that it's not actually raining, but at the same time, this car is quite capable in the rain. And in third gear, if you put your foot flat, I mean, it's just like a little sports car. And I just absolutely love it. It's brilliant. Yeah, you don't really need any more power. People can modify their Golf Rs all they like, but you know, unless you just want to completely break the speed limit, not really for me. It certainly brings you back into a nice little pleasure of driving, and the performance gauge is kind of like that, because you've got that screen there, you've got nothing else up, it's just the dials, and it's really, really cool, and it's a cool feature of this car. really the video, a little bit around the performance gauge. I think it's a great feature of the car, and it's really cool how it's available on later Mark 7s as well as obviously the 7.5. You know, thanks very much for watching. I hope you found this video insightful. You know, drop me a comment. As I say, after all my videos, I've got plenty in the catalogue. You know, I do like it to be kind of like a community-based channel. You know, you guys know probably more than I do, potentially about sort of like a Golf R, and you know, I like to think people can kind of drop into this channel and get the information they need from it. And if you need to pull out of a tight junction, a Golf R is quite a good car to do it in, actually. And for reference on my last video, which was a little bit around super unleaded and unleaded petrol, I've actually got 99 Tesco Momentum in here, and I prefer it even more, to be honest. Yeah, it's just, it keeps the car clean, keeps it well fed. And happy. Right, on that note, thanks very much for watching. If you want to watch my latest video, it'll be up there. If you want to watch a video I think you really will be interested in, it'll be in down there. And if you want to subscribe, it's just somewhere in front of me, and you know, I'd really appreciate it. But thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers, guys.